CBS 12 News starts now with breaking news.
And as we come out of the air this Saturday night, Tropical Storm Florence far from over, dealing the Carolinas a 1-2 punch. Right now, nearly 1 million homes and businesses without power as the storm has come to a grinding halt. Good evening, I'm Paul Mueller. Thank you for being here tonight. Some areas hard hit by Florence, and it's not over yet. Other areas hardly hit at all. Checking just moments ago, 12 people are now dead in connection with the storm. 11 in North Carolina, including a mother and child, when a tree fell on their house. One other person tonight killed in South Carolina. Of course, CBS 12 is the one to turn to for live team coverage of Florence's impact from the Carolinas to right here in South Florida. But of course, we begin with Storm Track meteorologist Michael Ehrenberg. And Michael, Florence seems like she's really hitting the brakes right now.
Yeah, that's right, Paul. Florence only moving at 3 miles an hour. We've got Florence to talk about, the remnants of Isaac down across the Caribbean. Of course, we still have Tropical Storm Joyce and Helene well out in the Atlantic. But let's focus in on Florence tonight. 2 feet of rain already recorded as by radar this afternoon, and it continues to get pounded all of the state of North Carolina, South Carolina as the center creeps along at west and only about 3 miles per hour. Here's a look at the radar estimates of rainfall near Jacksonville, North Carolina. 2 feet. 2 feet of rain near Oaks Island, North Carolina, and anywhere you see pink and white here, rain totals have been a foot or more. And storm's not done yet. Even though the winds have dropped to 40 miles an hour, the rain will be the big story here. Freshwater flooding, flood advisories in all the green areas stretching from the coast all the way out into the mountains of western North Carolina. Here are the new numbers as of 11 o'clock. What's new from early this afternoon is that the winds have gone down to 45. It's moving west at 3. It was moving west at 2, so it's moving just a little faster, but nevertheless is still creeping along, and the center is 40 miles east-southeast of Columbia, South Carolina. Forecast track, it moves west into the mountains of North Carolina, then it picks up speed, moves through Kentucky, moves near Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania at a faster rate. It'll be a tropical depression or a remnant low at this point, but nevertheless, all along its path as it moves through New England and off to the Canadian Maritimes during the week, still going to bring a lot of rain, an additional 10 to 20 near it right now over southeast North Carolina, and wherever you see the light and dark green, 3 to 6 inches of rain. So although the flooding won't be as bad as the Carolinas, there will still be a fair amount of flooding across parts of the mid-Atlantic and the Northeast. Meanwhile, we've got the remnants of Isaac down across the Caribbean. It was downgraded this morning. We'll talk more about this, the other systems, and your Sunday forecast a little bit later on. Paul?
So much to talk about, Michael. Okay, Florence has taken its toll on air travel, too. The number of cancellations right now, more than 3,000. And that is according to FlightAware.com. The good news, some flights out of Charleston, South Carolina, actually took off today. Airlines have canceled more than 500 flights in advance of tomorrow. And we continue our team coverage tonight in Wilmington, North Carolina, and that's where we find CBS 12's Maxine Menzel showing us just some of the damage Florence left behind, as some parts of the state saw 30 inches of rain.
When Hurricane Florence came through, it brought this massive tree down in this home in downtown Wilmington, coming just feet from the homeowner's window where they were sleeping at night. They say someone must have been watching over them.
And this is the prettiest part, or used to be the prettiest part of Princess Street.
Connie Logothita Street looks nothing like it used to.
I think it's sad.
Down trees on top of homes and this car make it impassable. One tree narrowly missed Connie's home.
But then this enormous bump about 5 o'clock in the morning, Thursday. And I looked out, I said, Andy, this tree is right next to our window. I said, it went down.
And it went down hard, covering her entire backyard.
Missed my bed by inches. Inches, literally. And and we don't even have a broken window.
Connie feels lucky to be alive.
Somebody up there.
And Connie's not alone. Other neighborhoods and major roadways across Wilmington are also filled with downed trees, power lines, and debris. Crews began the cleanup process Saturday, but it was a lot more work than anyone was expecting.
For a Category 1, it's a lot more trees and damage than you'd expect for the winds, but I guess with it sticking around so long, it's causing the problems.
Wilmington is also bracing for several more inches of rain. There are stories like this all throughout Wilmington as people start to assess the damage from Hurricane Florence. It will be days, possibly weeks, of cleanup ahead. Reporting in Wilmington, I'm Maxine Bensel.
Road ahead, Maxine, thank you. Meanwhile, police in North Carolina arrested 5 people already for looting. And in South Carolina, where waters continue to rise, their evacuation orders will be lifted in some areas. The governor will give local officials the authority tomorrow over school schedules and state government offices, saying they'll be open for normal business hours beginning Monday in all evacuated areas. New tonight, a tropical storm Florence as it crawls through the Carolinas. We are taking a look back at one of the deadliest hurricanes in history. Look at that, happening right here in our area. CBS 12's Luli Ortiz live in West Palm Beach tonight with more on a special ceremony, Luli, for the victims of the 1928 Okeechobee hurricane.
Paul, West Palm Beach city leaders, they held a memorial to honor those lives lost 90 years ago. And now organizers, they made an announcement today. They said that they want to create something positive and informative for children in our community.
A wreath-laying ceremony in front of a stretch of lawn on the corner of Tamarind Avenue and 25th Street in West Palm Beach. It's a mass grave site recognizing the 674 African-American victims of the hurricane of 1928, a storm that killed at least 2,500 people.
It was very important to me to come out and share.
This woman's great-grandmother is buried here. She shared her story to teach the young children about this piece of history.
You need to share that because you need to know about your ancestors, and some of these children don't.
According to the National Hurricane Center, the heavy rain caused Lake Okeechobee to overflow, flooding areas in Belglade, Pahokee, South Bay, and other surrounding communities. Organizers say most of the victims were migrants, black farm workers who never had proper burials.
So many people didn't know that we had a mass grave here. We didn't know that 3,000 people perished in that storm. And we need to let our young people know about that and make sure that they carry on the tradition of honoring those who have been buried here.
Now, members of the Park Coalition, they tell me they want to build a hurricane shelter on that site, as well as a first-of-its-kind museum to educate both adults and children about Mother Nature and, of course, those victims of 1928. We're live tonight in West Palm Beach. Luli Ortiz, CBS 12 News.
Our coverage doesn't stop here of Tropical Storm Florence. The rain's not stopping, so the rivers are rising. How this is causing even more evacuations. Developing tonight, a daring rescue by the Coast Guard as they save 3 people from the water, responding to a distress call and then rescuing the 3 from the 21-foot pleasure craft, a child included. This happening nearly 20 miles north of Fort Pierce. The video right here. They then towed that pleasure craft to the Fort Pierce inlet. An update tonight on yesterday's hours-long lockdown at Boynton Beach High School that landed 2 students behind bars. Police identifying one of them as this man you see right here, 18-year-old Wayne Brown. He's actually a student at the school. Another student also arrested. All of this playing out after a report of a gun fired at a bus stop. After that, a student found with a gun on campus. The good news, no one was hurt. Brown, meantime, faces a long list of charges. And our coverage of Florence doesn't stop here. Let's go ahead and take a live look right now at North Myrtle Beach. There it is as the rough surf, as you see, continues to pound the shoreline. How the heavy rain and floods aren't stopping anytime soon. And the race to the rescue, how one local organization is stepping up to the plate to rescue our 4-legged friends. Michael, oh boy.
Oh boy, Paul, looks like we've got just a couple spotty showers and storms on the radar this evening. Actual indirect circulation around Florence making it drier around here. We'll talk about tomorrow's showers. Who gets them in the hour-by-hour forecast?
You're watching CBS 12 News at 11.
They're certainly not out of the woods yet. Heavy rains causing some major flooding where Florence left her calling card behind. We continue our team coverage tonight with Tim Barber in Lumberton, North Carolina, where the rain is not stopping. And that means, Tim, that the waters are rising there.
And they are rising fast. I want to show you this sign right here because this is a bridge that is closed because some workers were just on it a little bit ago watching the river. You see all this water here? All this water is accumulating and it's going right into the river, which is right down there. You can't see it right now because it's so dark. But earlier this week it was at 7 feet. Now it's at 14 feet and rising tomorrow. It could get up to 24 feet high.
Tropical Storm Florence is turning streets into rivers and making rivers look like lakes.
More people now face imminent threat than when the storm was just offshore.
Now flooding, sending first responders into dangerous currents to save hundreds of lives. The deadly, slow-moving storm slamming trees into the ground, toppling gas stations, and leaving nearly 1 million people without power.
I cannot overstate it. Flood waters are rising, and if you aren't watching for them, you are risking your life.
While Florence continues to hover over this area, flooding is worsening by the hour.
And 2 years ago, right after Hurricane Matthew, the Lumbar River, which is exactly what we're standing over, also flooded. So the main concern is that could happen again, and that's exactly what local officials are going to be watching for. Reporting in Lumberton, North Carolina, I'm Tim Barber.
All right, Michael is back now, and you know, the wind and the rain, of course it's raining there, but the problem is, we just talked about this, it's moving at 3 miles an hour right now.
Right, so it continues to rain. It's going to rain for another 24, another 36 hours.
And the thing is, as he was saying, you know what Tim was saying, the rivers, the tributaries just can't handle all of that rain at one time. I mean, look at this.
I mean, it's historic. It's unbelievable. And actually, Paul, this is actually Lumberton as we see more flooding. And just a thank you to the first responders going up there, the Red Cross. We've got the fire department from New York City there. We got FPL workers from South Florida. I mean, you can see why. They need the help. Yeah, this is bad news. I mean, these are people's streets and neighborhoods. People have to get around. They have to go to the grocery store. They have to go to work and run errands. And just tough stuff. Not only the storm surge, which we had of about 10 feet, but now the rain, 24 inches in some places, could be grand totals of 30 to 40 as the circulation of Tropical Storm Florence continues to spin not far from Florence, South Carolina here. And the rain bands, the heavy rain just continues to rotate in. So it's only going to exacerbate the situation. Florence almost down to tropical depression status right now. Top winds only 40, moving west at 3 miles an hour. So again, that slow speed continuing to mean lots of rain dumped on that part of the southeast. Forecast track, it will slowly pick up speed, move through the Ohio River Valley near Pittsburgh by Monday, and then up through the Pennsylvania and upstate New York and New England, and all along its path, 3 to 6 inches of rain likely once it gets north of the Carolinas. So even though it will be weaker, it will still be a prolific rainmaker as we follow it. Meanwhile, Isaac was downgraded this morning. It's just a tropical wave, a 20% redevelopment chance. Thunderstorms are trying hard to intensify and organize here. The wind shear is still moderate. Now, when it moves over the western Caribbean, the wind shear will be light enough to perhaps redevelop this thing. Spaghetti plots are kind of, a little bit drawn out from one another as it goes over western Cuba and the Gulf of Mexico. However, we still expect the intensity to be weak here. European model doesn't really develop it at all. Just a little bit of disorganized rain. Could interject a little moisture away later in the week, Friday, Saturday. American or GFS model also doesn't redevelop it, moves it over western Cuba. So although we expect it to stay weak because of where it is a system we need to watch carefully. As you know, anything can happen. Meanwhile, as far as Helene is concerned, rapidly moving to the northeast will be an issue for Ireland later in the week as a big rain and wind maker, even though it might not be a depression or storm by then. Here's Joyce. Top winds are 40, and Joyce just meanders through the Atlantic south of the Azores and slowly disintegrates, not bothering anybody. Meanwhile, today, a record high tide in Vero Beach of 95, the old record of 95 set back in 1990 with a normal high at 88 degrees. Right now on radar, we see just a couple showers out across the south and west parts of Martin County near the Beeline Highway, dissipating right now, and a few showers and even a few storms from Vero Beach off into the coastal waters east of Sebastian. All right, what's going on? Even though Florence is 400 to 500 miles away, the counterclockwise flow of air around it with subsidence leading to drying, that's all the dark shading you see here, and a southwest flow. That southwest flow is a land breeze, and it means hot temperatures. Thus, you tied your record high in Vero Beach out there today. And with the dry air around tomorrow, just a chance for a random pop-up shower here through the morning. A few more shower storms popping up through 4 p.m., mostly Treasure Coast and mostly inland. And then later on in the evening, those storms will be ganging up on Lake Okeechobee and areas further west. So highs tomorrow, definitely above normal with that land breeze due again in part to Florence, 91 or even 92 for West Palm tomorrow. Royal Palm, 92, that high temperature. Treasure Coast, 90. 91, could be several degrees higher. The models might be a little bit on the low side. And those feels-like temperatures just toward, feeling like the middle of July here, 100 plus, 103 Fort Pierce, 101 West Palm, 99 Boca. So tomorrow, great day to take a dip in the pool or cool off in the air conditioning. Remember, we had that northeast swell from Florence. Well, it's still kind of sitting around a little bit, a 2 to 4 foot sea off of the Palm Beach County coast, 5 feet off the northern Treasure Coast, and that will persist as we head on to Monday, although the 5 feet will go further away. And because of that, at least a moderate rip current risk for tomorrow. So if you're swimming at Garda Beach, because even though it might look calm, there will be those rip currents. Partly cloudy for the rest of tonight. Some of you getting a random shower, warm, muggy, 76. Tomorrow is Sunday. Not a bad day overall. Sun, clouds do allow for a quick shower storm, mostly in the afternoon, though. And again, red hot, 92. But those feels-like temperatures over 100 during the early and mid part of the afternoon. Here's your 7-day forecast for the weekends, always in view. Low rain chances the next several days, down to 20% for Tuesday, Wednesday, and then maybe some moisture comes in from what's left of Isaac with a 40% chance for scattered showers or storms. Not as hot next Friday, Saturday, finally below the 90-degree mark. And there's your weather.
Nothing compared to the people in Florence's path right now. Thank you, Michael. Forced to turn around. Look at this. Members of a local animal shelter trying to rescue dogs from one storm-ravaged area. The trouble is, as you see, the rising waters stop them in their tracks. Big Dog Ranch Rescue using their own vans to get the animals out of danger. And tonight, CBS 12's Andrea Marvin takes us to Loxahatchee, where they're helping one shelter that had to be evacuated.
Big Dog Ranch Rescue is now caring for about 30 dogs from the Carolinas that needed shelter from Hurricane Florence's wrath. Now they are preparing to make the trip back up to help a second wave of pets in need.
The dogs still need rescue.
Administrative Assistant Jackie Paul of Big Dog Ranch says the animal shelter in Newport, North Carolina flooded, and high winds caused the roof to collapse. Volunteers were able to get the animals out, but they are in need of a new safe haven.
Now the dogs are in real dire need to get out because they don't even have a safe place where they're at right now.
Big Dog Ranch Rescue plans to head to the Carolinas once the roads reopen and floods subside to rescue more than 50 more dogs from the collapsed Newport shelter, as well as other dogs at a shelter in Columbia, South Carolina.
A lot of people will leave their dogs behind. They'll take their families and they'll leave.
Paul says many of the dogs that are being picked up in a few days need medical attention. To make space for them, Big Dog Ranch Rescue is hoping the community can help by fostering current dogs they have to bring in more dogs who need a home.
And we like to get them into foster homes so our dogs that we're bringing in from the storm will have a place to go for the quarantine area.
Andrea Marvin, CBS 12 News.
And Big Dog Ranch Rescue needs your help too. Blankets, pillows, and toys for the pups. For more information, just head on over to our website, CBS12.com. And of course, you can track weather any time of day or night you want with our CBS 12 News weather app. Just click on WPEC in your app store. A Heisman Trophy hopeful lives up to the hype. Wait until you see how many touchdowns Devon Singletary had tonight and why head coach Lane Kiffin still isn't happy when John Edmondson joins us next.
iHeartMedia radio stations, proud partners of the CBS 12 News Network, the one to turn to.
This week on Full Measure, the battle over sanctuary policies. As cities and states fight it out, Full Measure explores both sides and analyzes the true crime data when it comes to illegal immigrants in the U.S. Nearly a year ago, Hurricane Maria devastated Puerto Rico. To this day, there are discrepancies over the death toll. We get one expert's estimate and explore why it's taken so long to get at the facts. And creating an unbiased news media. One group says that mission unites some on left and right. Those stories and more this week on Full Measure.
Now, the South Florida Honda Sports Report.
Well, the Miami Hurricanes have the turnover chain. The FAU Owls now have the touchdown chain. Offense, defense, and special teams has a chance to earn it. The Owls hoping it would change hands a lot this Saturday night in Boca Raton, but it was one guy who dominated the touchdown chain in the first half. Former American Heritage star Devin Singletary runs in the longest of his touchdowns right here, an 18-yard score to make it 15-0. That number 5 jersey of Devin's very significant because the former CBS 12 High School Athlete of the Week, yes, we knew him when, ran in no less than 5 touchdowns in the first half alone. The Heisman Trophy candidate showing exactly why he's a Heisman Trophy candidate. 36-14 at halftime. Bethune-Cookman got back into the game a little too much for Lane Kiffin's liking, but look at backup quarterback DeAndre Johnson takes down a defender right there. Finally gets a chance to score a touchdown this season. The FSU transfer dealt with career-threatening blood clots last year, so that felt really good. But the 49-28 final, believe it or not, did not exactly sit well with head coach Lane Kiffin.
Our defense really expected a shutout today, like last year. So it's good to see we've changed the standard around here. To win a game by 21 points and still, everyone in there's upset. It's a long ways from when we first got here.
Well, next up for the Owls, a huge game in Orlando, taking on 18th-ranked Central Florida next Friday. Well, former Wellington High School star Amon Richards was sidelined tonight after being injured in the LSU game. So Miami Hurricanes quarterback Malik Rozier was missing a major weapon. But holy Toledo, did that ever not matter? Rozier looking great against Toledo after struggling with his numbers last week. Just ask Jeff Thomas, who snags the 38-yard score from Malik. Rozier taking things into his own hands as well, or should I say feet. Little touchdown run here makes it 21-0. And if you were impressed with that, I present Exhibit C. Rozier threw for 205 yards, 2 touchdowns, ran for 80 yards, 3 more touchdowns. There's one. Miami takes it 49-24. The Florida Gators desperately needed a feel-good win in Game 3 to get over last week's disaster against Kentucky, and there's a feel-good pass from Philippe Franks. Feel-good touchdown from Freddie Swan as well. I might share with you Swan's feel-good punt return here. 85-yard punt return score right there. 5 minutes elapsed right there, Paul. It was very impressive. And so was this QB Franks finds Van Jefferson for his 9th touchdown pass of the year. Number 9, that matches last year's total for the season. Gators feeling real good with a 48-10 win. Meanwhile, at Florida State, the defense looking solid early on in Syracuse today. This goal line stand could have been massive. It got the coaches pumped up, but the Seminoles offense never showed up while the Orange overcame looking their quarterback an early injury. It's Pierce there snagging the touchdown from redshirt freshman Tommy DeVito as the Noles lose. 37 is the bottom line there as I hacked up that entire highlight pack. We have an NFL doubleheader on CBS 12 tomorrow, starting with the undefeated Dolphins. Undefeated. They are undefeated. That is official. Taking on the Jets, who are also undefeated. They did some business with Detroit last week. Kickoff 1 p.m. on CBS 12. Fins final 11 p.m. tomorrow night. And don't forget to fill out your pro pigskin picks. Play against me, and you could win a $50 gift card for Miller's Ale House. Just head to the contests section of CBS12.com. And don't you try, Paul, because I don't think you're eligible.
Are you giving out the gift card?
I've got it right here in my pocket.
Oh, come on.
Yep, I'm holding it close. You got to play to win.
We will. John, thank you. A last check of your forecast when we come back.
CBS 12 News outerwear is provided by Under Armour.
All right, we're taking a live look right now. This is from our camera in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. As you can see, they do indeed have power as millions across the 2 states, North and South Carolina, are without. Michael is back right now. Michael, we've got a great forecast here in South Florida compared to what those folks are dealing with up there.
We were definitely lucky with this one, Paul. In the morning, we're looking at sun up at 7:06, partly sunny, just an isolated shower chance, and rain chances tomorrow, 30%, but we're hot, 92. It'll feel like over 100, and we stay above average for much of the week, Paul, with low rain chances.
So, but Florence, how long do we expect that to remain over North Carolina? I know 3 miles an hour.
Well, it's moving west. It'll be over Asheville tomorrow night, and then get out of there probably by late Sunday night.
U-turn to the north.
Another day, though, of heavy rain.
Boy, we wish those folks well. All right, thank you for joining us on this Saturday night. Remember, the news is always on CBS12.com. Be sure to join us tomorrow night at 6:30. Good night.